Alright, alright. We're doing this. You got that? Okay. I should have been doing this video live last week sometime, but I was on vacation for 2 weeks down in glorious St. Louis. Had a fantastic time. I'm not going to tell you about it. However, there were a number of things that happened to stop me from doing this. One was simply friends. One was a number of animals. Not this one. This is my baby. One was quite a large number of books, which you can see. I mean, which you can see right here. There's quite a few of them. Anyways, where was I? Yes, the book that we're going to be reviewing or looking at this week. I want to just talk a moment about book covers, book titles. These are the two things that you see first. You never see anything inside of it because it's a cover. It covers the book, naturally. The title is the first thing that always grabs attention. Good cover art, good title. These are the things which make you pick up a book, make you look inside of it. And this book that I'm going to talk about, a book written by a Missouri native that I picked up in St. Louis from one of their lovely little bookstores. The author's name is Matthew McBride, and the book is this lovely one, Frank Sinatra in a Blender. Now, right away, I seen this on the shelf. I'm like, Frank Sinatra in a blender? What is that about? So I picked it up, and I opened it up to the first page, and I looked, and it was something which reached out and grabbed me, because it appeals to two things I love very much. One of which being crime novels, the other being noir detective stories. I'm very fond of the genre of the noir detective, the gritty private detective, the police detective on the force, something along these lines. I've always been a fan of crime drama. Anyone who's seen my DVD shelves knows this. There is quite a lot of it up there. But this particular book is interesting because it does a noir perspective, a noir story, centering more in modern day life, more realistically than any I've read. Now, your protagonist is a private investigator. Used to be a cop, I believe, by the name of Nick Valentine. And he drinks, he smokes, possibly marijuana. He does drugs, quite a large number of drugs. I found myself reading this book wondering why this man hasn't keeled over from an overdose or some bizarre circumstance involving motor vehicle accidents with how much he does drink. But that's what makes it so fun. That's what makes it so interesting. That's what makes this book worth reading, and why I think you should read it as well. Now, I will say it is not for children. There is a lot of cursing, a lot of swearing, a lot of drug use, a lot of violence, people dying in gruesome ways. There is a lot of that in this book. For a slim little volume like this, it packs quite a punch. But what can you expect for a book that has this as the dedication? Hold on. Let's zoom right in here. There you go. Yep. To Charlie Sheen for winning. He dedicated the book to Charlie Sheen for winning. And any of you on the internet who knows Charlie Sheen and knows all the stuff that he's done and his winning, yeah, it pretty much sums up this book. But it is amazing. At its heart, it is a detective story. There has been a murder and a robbery. The perspective jumps back and forth. It's not simply one perspective. It tells the perspective of Nick Valentine, for sure. But it also tells the perspective of several other characters. A detective nicknamed Amish Ron, who used to be Amish, but from what the way the book describes it, apparently got jaded by putting up too many barns. So he became a normal guy, a police detective. Now, there are some other ones, some of the bad guys involved in a bank robbery that somehow ties into this murder. And it all comes together in a rather glorious and cathartic explosion of violence and revenge and simply beautiful crime drama. If you know the noir genre with its gritty realism, its dark tones, the way the heroes are often flawed, tragically so, the way society itself is twisted and warped in ways. One of the prime examples of noir genre is, of course, uh, in DC Comics, Batman with Gotham City. Gotham is the archetype of the noir city, with its strangeness and its grim detective vibes and stuff. I'm sorry if I'm rambling. I'm tired. I'm only recently home from down there, and I'm doing this in one take. I decided because I was going to do it live, I'd do this live, which is why you don't see the fancy little intro that I did up. So yes, Matthew McBride. He's been in other books. Actually, I've got his second book. Hold on here. You can see it here, fourth down on the right-hand side. Matthew McBride, A Swollen Red Sun. That is not a sequel to this one, but it involves much of the same style. It is kind of a noir story. I haven't read it yet. I will be reading it soon. He's also done other short stories and other works, I do believe. But this was his first big break into it. His first big novel that came out. There aren't much more that he's done. However, it's worth the read. He is a new author. He is someone just bursting onto the scene, more or less. And he's got 2 books out already. He's going to be writing more. I can firmly believe that with the way this man writes. Both books are very, very thin for now, but you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot of words to tell a good story. All you need is the amount of words that you need. At least I think so. Now, I think this week you should be reading Frank Sinatra in a Blender. So, because I'm tired, because I might be drunk, because I need to go take a shower, I'm going to leave you with 2 things. The first being the quote from this book by Frank Sinatra himself. Alcohol may be man's worst enemy, but the Bible says love your enemy. And I leave you with this, friends, viewers, all 5 of you. I pulled into Norman Rousseau's driveway as the sun was seduced by gravity and evening set in. Orange and pink stripes blazed, then faded in the dead sky behind his neighborhood shed, in desperate need of paint. I let the Crown Victoria run while I finished the rest of my drink, and set the styrofoam cup next to the short-barrel shotgun mounted on the floorboard. I dropped a 20-milligram Oxycontin in the middle of a dollar bill, folded the bill up tightly, and smashed the pill to a fine powder with the rounded edge of a Bic. I rubbed the paper between my fingers to grind it up as best I could. The car shook as the wind slammed it from the side. I looked around. There were 2 empty police cruisers parked in front of me and an officer lighting up a smoke on the front porch. I dumped out the powder and rolled up a bill tight, then ducked down to snort a line half the length of the owner's manual for a 1997 Crown Victoria. When the oxy hit, my right eye began to water. I sniffed hard and took another drink of gin. I opened my door, and the cold wind sawed deep into my bones. Chemical motivation cleansed my nerves as the world inside my head exploded and painted my mind with raw enthusiasm. Norman Russo picked a good day to kill himself. The weather was shit and there was nothing worthwhile on TV. Not that I watched much of that. I had better things to do, like drink. So, for now, friends, good night. And you should be reading Frank Sinatra in a Blender by Matthew McBride.